And we're live. Episode 3 of Athletic Insights. I have close personal friend Jacob White here. Jacob, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem.
So for everybody listening at home, Jacob is, as I mentioned, one of my long-term personal friends, and he is a local product from Brockville. I'm going to let him touch base on it shortly here, but he's had quite a successful volleyball career. Highlights including being National Player of the Year in Canada. He had a stint with the Team Canada Volleyball, which I consider a success for him, and he'll talk about that a little bit more. And he's even also had a bobsled opportunity. He had the opportunity to join Team Canada Bobsled, but I'm gonna let him take it from here. And Jacob, how are you?
All right. Yeah, it's good to be here. It's basically just trying to give back and use this as a tool to like share my experience in sports with kids and parents, and if they can learn from my mistakes or if they can learn from my achievements, that's probably a big goal for me.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. The purpose of this podcast here is to be a resource for youth sports teams, coaches, parents. If you've listened to episode 1 and 2, you've already heard me say that before. So Jacob, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your experience as a young child in athletics, and then a little bit about the decision you made, which went against the grain. Because, like I said, we're friends and we all grew up together. You're the only one who chose to take volleyball, and you chose to take volleyball seriously when you full well could have been playing more mainstream sports. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about your early experience in sports and how it brought you to volleyball?
I honestly personally think I'd have to say like a great opportunity growing up playing sports. My dad being a high level athlete, playing in the same league I played in. My mom loving sports. I just grew up around sports. Like I think of coaches like Tom Bell, Pat Larry, like all those guys. Like, so I was very fortunate to have a wide network starting young. For me, sports when I was young, I basically played everything. You didn't really choose anything. You played, like, I did cross country and I hated cross country.
Yeah,
I had to do that up until high school because Janet wanted us to try to excel at whatever. But you just mentioned me playing volleyball. I kind of started taking that serious in grade 10.
So it was grade 10 when you said volleyball is what I want to do long term, and I'm going to play this level. Like you had a goal.
Yeah, I played basically like rep basketball up until grade 10. And that's when I'm like, I'm kind of just need something new now. So I'm going to try out for the rep team in Kingston, did that. And then probably after 1 year there, so grade 11 now, I was like, okay, I'll take this a little more serious. Grade 12 definitely took it a lot more serious. And then grade 13, I was just like, try to pad the resume to make everything look better for schools and whatnot. But there was definitely at that time, there was wanting to play at the next level, but there wasn't anything past that.
In terms of your goals when you were a young high school student, you had essentially said, I would like to try to continue this in university. And that was essentially your goal at the time.
Yeah. In high school, my goal was I'd like to play at the next level, whether that's university, college, states, whatever it might have been. Right.
So you were open-minded. You just wanted to continue to play volleyball.
Yeah. Volleyball was definitely the number one, but at the time, I never got any, but if I'd have got offers for basketball or football or something, those definitely would have crossed my mind just because of other aspects, whether it's future after university and stuff. Right. But no, I definitely had more of a love and passion for volleyball starting at 16.
And you told me a little bit about this earlier in the week. Your original draw to volleyball was the concept of 3 chances to make a play each rally or whatever you want to call it, each time the ball goes over the net. Yeah. There's more opportunity for you to be involved. So was that more of a drive because you maybe weren't feeling as involved in football as a team sport and basketball more as a team sport? Did you feel that volleyball was something that you could it gave you the best chance to shine as an individual while, of course, still being part of a team?
Oh, for sure. The way I looked at it is I said it the other day too. It's if you're a wide receiver from football, you could go a whole game with not even getting a pass thrown to you. In volleyball, if you're on the court, you're getting one chance at least every 6 rotations because you control your serve. You get to serve, you get to touch the ball regardless. But in my position, I played outside hitter. So I'm serve receiving every time they're serving to us. So I have a 1 in 3 chance to pass the ball.
To contribute.
Yeah. And then the setter will always set it, obviously. But me being me, I chase the throw of those big hits or those big blocks. And with the way how volleyball was in Brockville, you're getting a set. I'm getting a set every time.
Yes,
so
I played against you in high school. I can confirm that Jacob was a very good athlete.
Yeah, that was all right. But just the chance to actually contribute to a team made it more appealing for me. Like if I can get set 15 times and get 8 kills, it'd be like, okay, cool. But if I'm not, like if I finish a football game and I don't get a pass, I'm like, okay, what did I do today?
Right.
If I play a basketball game, I think, hey, I played, let's just say 10 minutes and I had 2 points. What did I do? Like, did I really contribute, kind of thing? And at the time I had an ego, for sure. 100% had an ego. So it's like,
don't we all?
If I'm the man and I like,
yeah,
kind of like pumps you up a little bit.
Absolutely. And, so one of the things, just to add to your point is, every young male in high school is going to have an ego if they're pursuing sports. But you got to check that at the door, especially. So I was playing football, and what you talk about as with respect to, you could have a game where you don't get the ball, and I've lived through that. There's only so much you can do when you're a receiver. Maybe you don't have the strongest O-line. Maybe your quarterback's having a bad game. Maybe the other team's D-line is incredible and you're not getting any time to pass the ball. Whereas, volleyball is fast paced and there's more opportunity. So I definitely see what attracted you to it. But what I'm more interested in on that topic is there's a lot of kids right now that because we both went through it, going into grade 9 probably boys, but girls too, where they're getting pressure from the other kids to play a sport that they don't want to because it's tougher or it's cooler or you're like I got in grade 9, I didn't play football and I'd never played football before. So it wasn't on my radar. And the grade 10 boys who I've never spoken to in my life before, they were like, why aren't you playing football? Like, why are you playing volleyball? Are you scared to get hit? And I was like, I play hockey. Like, I'm not scared of contact. I've just never had interest in football. Then funny enough, the next year, 3 of my best friends showed up at my house, dragged me to the first day of football, and I fell in love with it. So things happen for a reason. But I want you to comment to any of the young kids in the community listening to this and parents of young athletes, just about on following your vision. Because if you didn't listen to your gut, which our second episode, Dr. Thomas was talking about, trust your gut, you might have ended up playing football or basketball university and not being as happy and fulfilled and achieving the wonderful things that you've achieved coming from Brockville as a volleyball player.
Yeah, like I think that you have to, as a parent or a kid, like you, or as an athlete, you have to do what you love. You have to have the passion and the drive for it. But I think in my situation, my dad played volleyball all the way in college and stuff, and I wasn't pressured to play volleyball. But at the end of the day, like parents pressure kids just as much as other kids pressure kids to be like, hey, if you had come up to me in high school and said, yeah, hey, why aren't you playing football? First off, I can
jump 40 inches and hit a ball 10 miles an hour.
I didn't want to play football for years. And volleyball at the same time. So I was like, okay, I'm choosing volleyball over that. I eventually played both together. But as a kid, you kind of just have to follow your passion. Like I think of myself in the future, if I have kids down the line and they're like, hey, I want to be a gymnast. Okay, I'm not going to pressure you into doing what I did. Like, right. That's what you want to do. That's what you're going to do. And I'll support you 100% with it.
That's going to come with age and maturity, right?
Yeah.
We're both going to.
But as a kid, like, I think even back then, I tried to support my friends with whatever they wanted to do. So if you're a kid listening to this right now, just follow your heart, have fun doing it. And eventually you might end up playing football, even if you weren't playing, or you might end up playing basketball or whatever it was. Like,
Well, one thing that, one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to all my athletes and the parents that I am constantly in communication with is your child needs to find people who are on the same mission as them. So we grew up, a group of us, we were very lucky. We had me and you, we had Trent to look up to, who's been doing absolutely legendary things since he was 10 years old. We had, Reese Larry. We had a lot of really good people in the community that we could look up to as well as be friends. And it kept us all out of trouble. Like that group of us in grade 12, we got a little bit closer. Alex Cornelius, whoever's in it. And we, on Friday nights, we were working out or watching a movie or playing pool at Trent's. We stayed out of trouble. We had support from each other. But that didn't really come until the end of high school. There's a lot of young kids right now who don't assimilate to their teammates because they might be 12 or 13 years old and they're already getting attention from schools or getting to that point. Whereas their friends are, starting to make different decisions. They might be doing things they shouldn't be. And I think it's really important to find friends, to find people who are on the same mission in life as you. And that goes after sports too. When you're done sports and you're done high school, you're done college, you're done university, you're going to spend more time out of school than in school, no matter who you are, hopefully. And I think the message I'm trying to get across here is, find friends that support you. If your friends are jealous, they're probably not the people you need. That's probably not the energy you need in your life. I can tell you right now, I would not have played university football without that group of friends I had in grade 12, because we kept each other accountable and you had people pushing you. And I think that's really, really important, especially coming from a small town like Brockville.
Oh, for sure. Like, at the end of the day, sports is sports, but to me, it's more than sports. Like, it's friendship, right? Like, you and I have been friends for how long now since then? Like, it's just, you just need that kind of group of friends, basically. Pretty much.
And one of the things that me and you talked about earlier in the week is, the jump from your high school life to college, university sports. And you had opened up to me a little bit and told me that you got there. And then the day you got there is when you realized that you weren't mentally ready or you weren't a little unprepared.
Yeah. Like, especially my first year, I went in, had an ego, like didn't check the ego at the door, went in, kind of hit me like, okay, this is obviously better than what I've been playing, because
Brockville, Kingston.
Yeah. At the time, Brockville didn't really have much volleyball and stuff, but anyways, it just was a kind of like a punch in the face. Being like, okay, like I kind of need to mentally prepare for this like opportunity. But at the same time, I probably didn't mentally get to a good point until like year 2 or 3. Like, took a long time to develop and adjust. And
what changed for you? Was it just spending time in that environment and getting comfortable, or did you change things? Did you change your routine? Did you add things to your schedule? How did you go about bringing that maturity out?
I did a couple of things, like just using resources. Like, my coach played at a high level, so I just sat down, talked to him. He helped like give me tools and we called it my tool belt. So we tried to get as many tools as possible, put in my tool belt. A lot of people don't like talking about it, but I went and talked to a counselor here and there just to be like, hey, I just need a vent session. Like, can I just vent? Can you just give me pointers? Can you whatever? And that worked for a while. But it's just using resources. Like, my coach's daughter had a book she gave me. I actually can't even remember the name. But
did you read it?
I did.
Good. Wow, Jacob White read a book.
Probably one of the only books I've ever read. But I just talked like mental toughness and mental preparation. And I was like, okay, like I can definitely relate to all this. So for me, it was just like definitely like an adjustment period, but just trial and error.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Everything in life's trial and error.
Trial and error.
Like one of the things you said earlier was if you could go back, you would have taken school more seriously in high school. Do you want to just touch on that a little bit and give some advice to some kids in a similar situation? Because there's another Jacob White somewhere out there in Brockville or wherever you are, who's probably coasting off of their athletic ability. And Jacob's proof right now, he's 10 years in the future, telling you to start taking school more seriously. Because at the end of the day, there's the real prize you get is your degree.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, sports aren't going to be there forever.
No matter who you are.
Thinking professional athletes, like, yeah, they like people in the NFL make so much money, but at the end of the day, if you have a 10-year career in the NFL and now you're 30, 31, what do you do for the next 30 years, right? Like, if you don't have an education, you're kind of screwed. But yeah, I wish I took it more serious.
What would you have done differently? Study habits?
I would have studied. I actually would have studied. I probably would have done more homework and stuff. I actually got sat down with friends and in the classroom and just basically just learn from them and have them not tutor me, but help me, just because, I was one of those kids that just coasted. Like, I went in, let's just say I had like a 70 average, 75 average. And if you're a kid looking to go to university, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
You can get into university with some schools and some maybe like general arts or something. Yeah. But I think back in my past, I wanted to go to Queen's for a while. And no matter what program it was, you're going to need high 80s, low 90s to get in any program. And they help you out by being like, okay, we'll drop it 5-6%. But at the end of the day, that 5 or 6% is so hard to go from a 75 to an 80 or an 85. It's not easy. So I actually wish I kind of made a commitment like I did for sports with school.
Right.
Because
I think that's really important. I really appreciate you verbalizing that as well as you did, because one of the things that I'm doing with my company is we sit down and the majority is the athletic development. We talk about what the kids need to do in terms of sleeping, nutrition, training, meal timing, all that stuff. But then we have a very honest discussion about their grades and about their futures. And I've even started tutoring some of my athletes. And the fact that the way you find success in sports is through academics.
Yeah.
There's no school, or there's no sports guys without school. Like most of the sports I played growing up, Vanier, public school, BCI, I played basketball, badminton, whatever. The only sport, football, the only sports I didn't play in my school environment was probably minor league hockey growing up, right? I didn't play Blazers. I didn't play any of the traveling teams. So those schools are not going to let you play if you're a kid with a 50 average in high school, and you're certainly not going to have an opportunity to chase the dream moving forward. So I really appreciate you articulating that the way you did. I think that's going to give a lot of kids a kick in the butt, hopefully, and a lot of parents a wake up call, because at the end of the day, all these parents at home listening, or whether you're with your child or not, your kids learn from you. They learn from you more than anyone in the world, maybe second to their teachers, just because they spend 8 hours a day with them, four to five times a week, 5 days a week, right? So you need to talk to your kids about the reality, about their reality. If they're a kid who's struggling to get 60s, well, then don't talk down to them about not getting 90s. Why don't you just strive to get a couple 70s on the next report card? And then the next progress report comes out. Let's see if we can get a 75. You have to periodize things. You can't just tell a kid that they're not doing well enough, because they're going to lose self-confidence and they're going to implode on themselves. And you see it all the time, and you see it in sports. I was the head tutor at Bishop's for student athletes in exercise physiology. And one of the things I tried to do was, I knew these kids weren't assimilating to their teacher. So first of all, we had teachers with very French accents, and we were mostly football players imported from Ontario, Calgary, wherever, just not very much from Quebec. And one of the things that I was able to bring to the table for kids in their first, second years, third years of university was they related more to me in the way I taught to them. So their grades went up, their coaches were more happy with them. That's going to lead to success on the field.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. But it's funny, like, well, no, it's not funny, but it's good that you're doing that with the kids, like the homework, and we'll just call it tutoring.
It's the post-secondary prep. That's what it is.
Because nobody else does that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I'm excited moving forward. If you're at home and you're a young athlete looking for improvements in school and athletics, I'm your guy. And we're going to switch gears here a little bit. And now, Jacob, I'm really interested. I've obviously heard more than the majority of people, but I really want to get into, the success that you've had with volleyball. Just tell us a little bit about what it meant to you winning National Player of the Year. That must have given you an immense sense of validation because you made a tough choice in high school to stick with volleyball and then continue with your Team Canada stint.
I had a good run in college. I was like 2-time All-Canadian Player of the Year, stuff like that. But
and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it definitely, at the end of the day, I'll never forget when my coach and I flew out to BC for the award banquet. We already know I was an All-Canadian, so they don't tell you who the Player of the Year is till you get there. So we're just sitting there, and you see all these other guys. There was, I think, 8 of us, 6, 7 of us maybe. But and they put your stats up, and they put out like how your team did and like all your achievements and stuff. And like you look at that and you're like, okay, like you think, do you deserve to be here at one point? Just because they're all like high level athletes. And it never crossed my mind to be Player of the Year. But then we're sitting there, and I'll never forget the feeling walking on stage when they're like, and the CCAA Player of the Year is Jacob White. I'm like, this is pretty surreal. Like, it's pretty cool. And it just showed me like all the hard work paid off, like there's no tears, but all the sweat and like hard work you put into like trying to achieve a certain goal. It's like, yeah, like that's like it worked.
Yeah.
What I did worked.
Yeah.
And then from there I just graduated college, and I went to the national B team tryout for volleyball, which was the first time I ever got cut. And it was pretty humbling, pretty good experience. But then I got a call 2 months later being like, hey, we have a Team Canada full-time development team. We are based in Gatineau. We train year round. We prep you for whether it's being a part of the national system. We prep you for going pro. So I was fortunate enough to get that phone call and made the decision between that and going back to school. And I went played volleyball.
And touch a little bit there on the jump from college there to the development team, not just physically and talent wise, but the structure and the mental side of things.
Oh, it's a huge punch in the face. It was even worse than wasn't bad going from high school to college, but definitely going from college to the national team. You kind of go in, especially with the league I played in, like you're going in now, there was ex-pro guys on the team. There was guys who were in university who've been on the B team. They've been on Pan Am Games team and stuff like that. So like physical and skill wise, it's definitely a huge like learning curve still. But definitely when it comes to like, for me, when it came to like the mental strength and the emotional toughness of being there, because it turns from having fun playing volleyball with your friends in college to, okay, now you're considered a professional athlete and this is a job now. This isn't like go out, hey, if I hit a couple of balls out of bounds, it's whatever. This is like, this is my job. Like you have to know how to be prepared. And that's something that I don't think I was. Like, I did some stuff in college to try to help myself, but because of like the learning curve and the jump, it definitely was another just eye opener for sure.
And you burnt out a little bit, right?
100%. That's the reason I'm not playing volleyball anymore. People talk about like this whole mental health stuff, and I definitely wasn't prepared for how, I'm not gonna say how hard it would be, but I definitely wasn't prepared for how much my mental stability was going to get put through some stuff. So it was basically, there was one, like a 2-week period where I was just kind of struggling. And then we were at a morning practice. We were doing some blocking drills, and the guy I was with actually was like screwing up a lot with his footwork. And if you're all in a drill together, you're all in a drill together. One person screws up, you all screw up. Right. Well, he reamed into the three. It was pretty good. And I was like, okay, like that's how it's going to be. And you learn like you're expendable. Right. So it doesn't really matter. So he sent us to the locker room. I literally put all my clothes on. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm done for the day. So I was going to walk out the door. He came back in, ripped us again, said, get back out there. I went home and I cried. One of the first times I ever just like cried, called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm done. I'm like, yeah, this is it for me, because it turned from coaching to, I love criticism. Like if you said to me,
work on this to get better at this.
Yeah,
like there's a way to do it, right?
I'm like, I love it. Like it means I'm not doing something right and I can do something better.
And then you get those little, as an elite athlete, you're already here. And the best athletes in the world on the best days in their lives, they find little tiny ways to get that much better, right?
Yeah. But with this coach, it just it felt more like bullying. Like it didn't feel like I was getting coached. Like I was fortunate to have great coaches like Tom Bell, Pat Larry, like my dad, Bill. Janet never coached me, but she was always a coach. So I was fortunate to have like all these people in my corner growing up. They were like supportive when you're playing sports and they wanted you to succeed. But just to put it blunt, you get to a certain level and it doesn't matter. There's 25 more of you.
Yeah, next man up mentality.
So yeah, I literally just went home, broke down, called my mom, and I said, yeah, I'm done. Like I was burnt after doing. Well, you play sports all your life. Well, we have obviously, but when you're put your everything for like 10 years, you're just.
Yeah. So do you, just before we wrap up here, do you still feel like that you had a successful experience and you wouldn't have changed any of it?
Wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah. Good.
I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the ups, the downs, the positives, the negatives. Like it doesn't matter. Like it wouldn't be who I am. And yeah, it's people want to represent their country, and I was able to do that in a certain type of way.
Yeah, absolutely. Developmental volleyball is still representing your country. You did it. I think that's awesome. Last thing here, just any advice for the young population in Brockville or surrounding areas, or whoever's listening to this, wherever you're from, just a word of advice to the next generation of athletes who are trying to accomplish some of the things you have.
Yeah, pretty much for athletes, like you need to enjoy what you're doing. You need to have fun. You need to love it. Don't get too caught up in statistics, wins, losses. Like just go out and have fun. At the end of the day, like you're building yourself, your own little community. Like all my friends now are guys I grew up and played sports with. So like
people are on the same path in life as you, right?
Just have fun. But for parents, like just support your kids. Like who cares? Like even if it's not sports, if your kid at the end of the day says, hey, I want to be a mathematician or whatever, if that's the right word. Yeah. Just support them. Like that's all you can do. Like have fun, enjoy the moments, just live life.
And there you have it. Episode 3 of Athletic Insights. Thank you very much, Jacob.
Thanks for having me.
We're out.